Right, it's the 7th of May 2024. Firstly, let's get to last night. Obviously, Peter Neighbour's fallen out with me, and it's going the way I initially thought. There is basically as good as no more than 3 people that actually like me in the building. Anyway, going to the shop last night, Audi. Again, there was more problems. I can't remember the top of my head. Overnight there was a lot of banging in sequence to say I'm breaking in, you've lost it now. So, you know, when you think to yourself, one of the neighbours isn't here anymore, it can still get quite bad. So, yeah, I'm not happy about it. Well, I don't know what the forecast is for today, the 7th of May 2024, but obviously it seems to be sunny. But it doesn't just seem to be sunny, it seems to be fucking hot as well. But, oh well. Right, so we've got having a break-in too late said. Car passes defeating photographic evidence of a long bonnet, red gun-looking American car. Rugged looking white, orange, grey, 1940s vehicle. See a Stephanie Jill Hill look-alike, as she'd look near enough 20 years ago, except this person is a thinner build and not as smooth a traction in the skin. And black and blue cars, a brief van. My penis shoots up to a load of loud bikes just in time around to an itchy bump occurring. It falls in a frame's timed, and then a red car timed, and then a bike timed again. Lanes loaded black and blues. Shoot dead center or something. And bonus motorway timed to itchy bump around the same with 3 bikes. And in total there's been about 700 cars, 80% similar to every single car on the road. Right, penis ups and bikes, loads of black and blue timed, and sick grey, white, whatever else, PDF. Owner and bikes timed, more bikes timed, and low in the car, motorway timed after. Right, so the sun's out, got off the bus, Abri vans, 3 of them. Police looking white sexual car initially, and they seem to be digging with setups claiming that I've had sex with Stephanie Jill, whatever her surname is. Well, that's not true. They're going back to old setups where they were, in the same way they were digging going back 20 years ago with these setups. They're going back, what they're doing is they're going back to old setups of stuff that's bullshit, which they've done in the past, knowing that all the stuff in the past people were woken up to find out that they're shit stirring and making up stuff. So what they've done is they made sure that when I moved they could go back to these setups, knowing that it would go unnoticed by everybody else. And I can't go with that lady anyway. Stephanie is actually in a sexual relationship and a single mother now, and obviously she's basically roughly about 39-40 years of age, because she's only a couple of years actually younger than I am. Even so, the government or God wants to dig with that specific person today. We've got a mentally handicapped weather pattern, and it is gonna fuck up the picture I want to take. They've just opened the sky up again after about 3 minutes of cloud to open a massive, huge blue sky to fuck up the picture I want to take. Seagull says child molester just beat you up, choked by catalytic converter, initially white car timed and smashed over that fucking drain cover. Just there for fucking... There we are, the creator god's fucking taking the fucking piss, I tell you, really taking the fucking piss. I'm gonna have sex, but it's being replaced with someone that sexually abused me as a child, and then you get the son, okay? You fucking thick cunt, Christ. You nasty malicious bastard, like killing these animals there like that fucking squirrel in the middle of the road, and to let that car past because I don't want to go over and over that fucking squirrel. I'm put to a stop. I can't go anywhere until soaking wet and hot because they've brought the sun out. Right, whether this force against me is organised separate to mapping out the sun to be out with blue skies, I do not know, but overcast van followed by a guarantee van. Well, that's not the case. It's blue skies and sunshine. So when this was mapped out, all these pre-organised setups were mapped out in my direction, they didn't take that into account. They didn't take into account that they were going to rearrange the sky pattern and twist the weather when they mapped out or pre-organised this force in my direction, because it's a reverse weather to what the setups are suggesting. So the setups that have been constructed around me have been set up before they've messed about with that sky pattern to cause it to be sunny. I might as well mention this because I'm not sure what I'm doing today because it's too hot for me to do anything. We're in May, obviously, the beginning of May. It doesn't usually get extremely hot like this until roughly June. And then it gets hotter in July, August, and depending on the year, September can be hotter than August. So we're hitting the months now where it's going to get really, really fucking bitterly hot. But there's nothing I can do about it. Obviously the my movement's screwed up and they need to put an orangey sexual at me. Well, actually I'm going into plan B, so I'm walking back to the bus stop. I'm going to see if I can get a bus back. For the simple reason, they lied on the forecast about the weather conditions. I'm getting too hot, I'm getting pissed off of it, and I'm not in the mood for a fucking blue sky sunny day. When I've had when I'm not feeling 100%, so I got to go into plan B. It shouldn't be sunny every day, but they're making it sunny every day. So when my dad he's actually saying he prefers the sunny days. There hasn't been a sunny day in the whole of April. So that's very interesting, to say the least. He said it's either pissing down or very dull and overcast. So it seems very interesting that the sun's only cursing me. But if we go back to last week's setups, there was a vehicle on the road that says that my father likes the sunshine. But, you know, they gave his name or whatever on the van and thought, there's quite a few different vans with that name. Because you've got Lisa loves the sunshine, you've got Saven loves the sunshine, which is the name of someone I'm mistaken for all the time. And the other sunshine vehicles, you've got Sex in the Sun t-shirt. I can't remember what the actual wording is on these other ones, but it's basically wording to say the good life weather, sex in the sun, or sexual weather or whatever. It's something like that. Well, I don't want sexual weather in my pictures. The type of pictures I take require dull days. And when I was going on the internet, it seems that professional photographers actually prefer the duller days when taking pictures. So it just goes to say, show, doesn't it? But also it does say that although they prefer it overcast, they don't prefer it when it's grey. They prefer it like white cloud without the sunshine there, maybe patchy cloud with some opening of blue skies, but without the intensity of the sun. Where I go, it's sun full stop. There's nothing I can do about it. And that lady in that car drove past as a very old lady. She gave me a look as if I'm a sick bastard. Right, let's get to this Saven threat, shall we? Right, I can't remember the exact time it was, whether it's December 2016 or December 2017, because I can't remember. I think it's 2016, but that'd be the earliest when the threat occurred. And that's a grey sexual car, by the way. When I was in the early days of getting the Saven threats, I was mainly being mistaken as... No, actually, that's wrong. That came in about a year later, didn't it? The Liam threat came in a year later, and I was getting a lot of threats in that year. So that would have been 2018 into 2019 sort of area. Yeah, so the Saven threat wasn't really that bad when it initially started. And some people knew what sort of music I was into, because apparently this Saven plays a guitar and listens to guitar music. And, you know, I was being mistaken as that person. And because some people knew what music I was playing on my little round Bluetooth speaker with the micro SD card in it, people knew what sort of music I listened to. So it wasn't everybody that were giving me threats mistaking me as Saven. But what happened is, we went into the lockdown and threats were a bit down, so it's just sort of casual flow threats. But as soon as we reached 2019 or late 20, as soon as we came out into the, no, that's wrong, in 2020, was it late 2020 or January 2021, was it? I can't fucking remember, but we just come out of lockdown, or around the time the lockdown was eased, and as soon as that lockdown, they constructed, and all this force against me, all these setups were suddenly stepped up, 4 times heavier than ever before. And they were timing every single car out of every single roadway, every person to sneeze in my face, timing all these setups in a controlled, mapped out, pre-organised setup maliciously against me in a nasty, menacing way. So what's happened is the setups were laying off just before the lockdown, saying that I paid the price for writing Bomb Hinkley Point Power Station graffiti, which was on sexual grounds. And then obviously the lies of Stephanie Hill and Jill, we'll come to that in a minute by the way, they were actually agreeing and said that yes, it's not true that I've been with her, you know, with the setups. So they started to lay off with the setups. So it was still bad days, but the threats were really bad just as we were going into the lockdown, the first lockdown, for a short period of time, but it's only on one specific day or time period that occurred. When we came, we sort of, when after lockdown we went into threats. The threats just went off the scale straight after we went when we came out the second lockdown. I think is when it all kicked off. When we came out the first lockdown, things weren't too bad. The setups were sort of here and there, but there were some bad days as well that I couldn't tell you that it's not good, but the setups they're becoming more controlled and more tighter just as we come when they went after the first lockdown, and then it got really nasty and really tight when we went into the second lockdown. And then obviously today they're going back to old setups, as I was saying earlier, with this Stephanie business. With this Stephanie I can't go with, and in the past I've never had sex with her. There's a possibility Jason Dando has had sex with her, and there's a possibility that Esme's son David John Franklin from Cardiff has also had sex with her or been in a relationship. But I had no communication with her for many years, so the last time I literally saw her was 1993, 1994, just before I left Elmwood School. The next time I saw her, and I can't guarantee this was her 100%, but I think it was at 10 Pin Bowling in Taunton, when I went there with a group called Snap, which is an organisation where you can go for days out when schools are closed or there's school holidays. Back in that time you pay a small charge, which included Yeovil College in fact. And this is how I know that lady that looks like a dog. At the time, back in those days, I thought she was really, really ugly and couldn't fancy her. But when you compare the looks of people today and how disgusting they look in the age of 40 plus or whatever, so I'm 43, she's probably the sexiest person in that age group I can fancy. So it's gone in reverse, because she's still got the smooth skin. However, her sister, who's about several years younger, possibly a bit younger than me, she actually looks older than this lady. I think her name's Gemma, and she has she looks like an old granny, rough skin and whatever, and yet her sister is taller, older, and she's still got that smooth skin appearance. But even so, it's not applicable anymore, because she's turned against me because of this shit that's flying around with me being mistaken as this Savenne. And it's getting nastier and nastier at this minute in time, especially when I went to Flushing Meadow yesterday, Aldi's yesterday. 19 threats in Aldi's in just a matter of just a couple of minutes I was in there. 8 people photographing me, people threatening to smash me and knife me dead, shoot me dead, calling me a child rapist or whatever, mistaken identity. I was not happy at all about it. In actual fact, it's the nastiest time I went to Aldi's for this amount of threats since 2022. 2022 I posted a load of USB sticks and CDs to conspiracy theorists around the world and government regarding information, because the knife attack almost took place on me on 2 days in a row. So on the 9th of June I posted one to Washington White House, United States government, Canberra Australian government, and Moscow Russian government, and that's before the issue of President Putin was this going back before that was on telly. I posted it back then. So that's that, and but I've lost what I was going to say. Yeah, before 2019 2019 or around up until the first lockdown began, it's very rare that I'd walk into what I call the Dan Morgan looking types, which are my ex-mugger. There's a certain type of people that he has as friends, and they're the bearded type, and the rough type, the unhappy type, the rockers, the heavy metalists, the hip-hop type. Well, before 2019, I was walking into nasty people, yeah, but it was very rare it's that type. There's more like the hardcore sort of type, or the techno type, or people with the pit bull terrier dogs, you know. It's, yeah, I did have threats going back in those days. It was bad before the lockdown. But ever since we came out of that lockdown, that's when the severe threats really came in, and I was being mistaken as that person. We're looking at 150 of threats in one day on some days of 2022. I mean, even when I moved to Yeovil, the first week I moved to Yeovil, I'd not been there for 10 years nearly. When I moved to Yeovil, I went to Tesco's in the first 2 weeks I moved there, and I had over 40 people start on me of the Dan Morgan ex-mugger lookalike type friends giving me trouble in Tesco's just in the first, you know, whatever. So it's definitely not good. And this doesn't stop no matter where you go, whatever town it is in Somerset, whatever place it is in Dorset, whatever village, you can guarantee I've had a severe threat in every one of those places. I think over 100 times at least in some places. When you consider that I've been photographed, mistaken as that person, and I've had over 100 people photograph me in one day before now, especially when I went to Portland in 2022. So it's getting nasty. It's also caused many people to fall out with me. Possibilities of first ever sexual relationship in my whole life. And where they've stirred so much shit about this Saven has raped someone with the same name as someone who sexually abused me as a child. And I'm getting all the shit for that as well, which is making me a bit unhappy, and this is why sometimes I lose my temper. But I do manage to control myself at times. It's very rare I lost the last time I lost my temper, and this is the first time for about 15 years, and that was just a few days after I came back from staying at my dad's. And also Gail, the support worker or whatever, she played that recording. They thought that specific recording was rough. It was rough, because I did lose my temper, and it was because of the sexual reasons. You know, because I was being accused of raping someone with the same name as someone that sexually abused me as a child, and being threatened to be smashed in and knifed and whatever. I was not at all happy. That's why they're mistaking me as that person. Why that mistake is rape someone with that specific name is coming back at me nastily. But so there's many different problems that have occurred ever since the issue of the lockdowns or whatever. But they did lay off initially, but with the setups. But you know, they even admitted that they lied about the Stephanie Hill and Jill business with the setups. Well, now that we've come out of the lockdown into a new organised setup, you know, the issue's changed. It's become more devilish. So that's all I can say there. Car starts as I pass with a catalytic converter. It's previously been started in the last few minutes as well, because the catalytic converter stench is strong. Right, I've just gone to get on the bus to go back because I can't take the sunny weather. I've had to give up because the bus is packed, so I've had to go into plan B and just continue and walking in the sunny weather until I get a quieter bus later on when I go home. Right, there's a car timed out of a driveway trying to smash into me, and a new setup, and it appears to make the suggestion that the nose on an end of an aeroplane needs to lift up when it comes into my direction. That's the next setup, and that's a new setup, so worth mentioning. Right, Penis shoots up to that bike. The bus that went past wasn't actually the bus I needed to get on, so I managed to get on the bus I needed. It was just another bus that was out of service of the same company. It's fun, breathe, stuff on it, it's sexual. Penis shoots up to bike over, it's the way to go. God, one sec. I'm going to probably put the rest of the recordings on the camera where it shows the video, because obviously the sun's out and there's one confirmed yet, it's coming back on. It's not go back early, and it's only midday, but you know, the sun's slowly pissed off in the sun. Burner, bike, and then that explosion black and load, weird fish, setup's more easier.